My dearest Earth brothers and sisters, this is Arkok speaking. I greet you in peace and love. Society is very complex, and people are different from one another. Still, I feel that there exists a basic pattern that is generally true and that is really important to the well-being of society, and to the men and women therein. Namely, society thrives if men protect and provide for everyone, and if women love everyone and express that. Now obviously people shouldn't be forced into these roles. However, if men and women are healthy, enough of them will naturally feel drawn to these roles that society thrives. Note that currently both Earth men and Earth women are very far from that ideal. The average man isn't even close to thinking in terms of, what can I do to make sure that every single person on this planet is protected and provided for? Which is actually what men do in a healthy society. Or at the very least, in a healthy society men work towards making sure that the people in their local community are protected and provided for. To be clear, I don't mean that men should start pushing for more governmental welfare programs and correspondingly heavier taxation. More of that isn't the solution. Heavier taxation is basically signing up other people for charity or volunteer work, except that the government might very well not use that money productively. Rather than forcing other people to get signed up for charity or volunteer work via governmental taxation, I suggest signing yourself up to go do something tangible and useful in your local community. After all, the saying is, be the change you want to see in the world. The saying isn't, use the power of the state to force other people to be the change you want to see in the world. Although if you don't have the time or energy or health to go do some volunteer work or to start some local initiative, I understand and I empathize. Indeed, go put on your own air mask first, that is entirely valid. I know that people are struggling and that things are really tough out there, and I'm sorry. Still, men aren't even close to thinking in terms of, what can I do to make sure that people in my local community are protected and provided for? Similarly, the average woman on Earth isn't even close to loving everyone and expressing that. Note that I'm saying loving everyone, not just loving the people whom she agrees with politically, not just loving accomplished and likable people. I'm talking about loving everyone and expressing that, including loving so-called bad people. The experience of an average man, who hasn't done anything wrong but also isn't especially handsome or famous, is that most women are at best neutral towards him, rather than loving. And often, women are cold and indifferent and perhaps even hostile towards him or towards male preferences and interests. Some women might think it's not our job to love random guys, but that's precisely why your society sucks. If women think that it's not their job to love random guys, and men think that it's not their job to protect or provide for random women, then neither men nor women get what they need to thrive. At the very least, let's agree to end anti-male discrimination. There's anti-male discrimination when it comes to hiring, divorce court, criminal court and police. There's constant negative representation of men in movies. Radical feminists often shut down male shelters. There are more female-only university scholarships at a time when already more women attend university. There's far more money for breast cancer than for prostate cancer research. Men expressing typical male viewpoints get censored or arrested far more often than women expressing typical female viewpoints. Now obviously it's only a small group of women who push for these measures. Yet, the majority of women don't lift a finger to oppose these measures. The amount of women marching in the streets to end anti-male discrimination is practically zero. As a result, perfectly fine men, who haven't actually done anything wrong other than being born with a penis, usually aren't feeling love from women. More like the opposite. And so they often just withdraw and start focusing on things like video games. And yes, men who prove themselves in some positive way often are respected and loved by women. However, people don't do well if they're treated as suspicious until proven innocent, and are only then given conditional love. So, Earth men aren't doing what men need to be doing to help society thrive, and Earth women aren't doing what women need to be doing to help society thrive. And unfortunately, these two things reinforce each other. An average man probably experiences harshness and coldness or at best indifference from women as a group and from society. Likely he has a huge hole in his chest that is supposed to be filled by female love, partly from his mother and his partner, but also partly just from women collectively being loving towards men collectively. Such a man is unlikely to want to take care of his whole community. At best he'll work to take care of his family, which is admirable in a way but not sufficient to cause society to thrive. And it's also entirely possible that an unloved man becomes selfish and destructive, or just indulges in distractions and addictions. Conversely, it's entirely understandable for women who feel unsafe and materially insecure to not feel much love for average men. Because indeed, men as a group should be helping protect and provide for her, and they're failing at that. In fact, many women automatically harden up and become less feminine and more masculine if men aren't protecting her and providing for her, at least to an extent. So, men don't feel the need to do their responsibility until women do theirs, and women don't feel the need to do their responsibility until men do theirs. So neither men nor women take responsibility, and neither gender gets what it needs. Now, there's an idea among some women that men suck and that women should start ruling the world and then everything would be fine. There have already been a number of prominent female politicians, including heads of state of important Western countries such as Thatcher and Merkel. Note that they were just another politician. They didn't transform their countries into utopias. Queens were also more likely to wage war than kings in medieval Europe, dispelling the idea that female rule automatically leads to peace. Now, obviously women shouldn't be barred or discriminated against if they try to become politicians or CEOs. Still, just having more female CEOs or more female politicians isn't the solution. I agree with the idea that the feminine is needed to heal society, but what's needed isn't more female CEOs. What's needed is more women who love fearlessly and unconditionally and universally, and who express that openly. That, in turn, empowers men to want to take care of everyone.